Hello, everyone. Dr. Victoria Scribo here, speaking to you from the Seeds of Transformation Healing Center, Wareham, Massachusetts. Today, we're going to do the horoscopes for the sign of Virgo for the month of September. And of course, September is always a special month for Virgo because the sun spends most of its time in Virgo. So it's time to be Uber Virgo. I'm going to start with an oracle card. I'm going to select a card from the Elemental Oracle by Stacey DeMarco. She is out of Australia. It's Alchemy, Science, and Magic. So what is the energy that Virgo needs to be aware of in September 2022? What do the Elemental Oracle have to say for Virgo? I usually just shuffle until it feels right. So Virgo. The message for Virgo. What's your message for Virgo? It's a little noisy here. I apologize. I'm in a new spot in my room and I do have to keep the window open because it is kind of hot. But it is Main Street, so it does get busy. All right. Animals. Of course, Virgo, as a ruler of the sixth house or connected to the sixth house, is connected with pets, people, or other beings that we are meant to take care of. All right, so what is this? 21. Companionship. I'll just hold that up and read it to you. Yep. Looks like, what's her name? Frida? I can't say her last name. We all have superpower. Find yours and exercise it. Take time out to share your gifts. The natural world calls you. It is part of you. Experience having an animal companion. But if you cannot, then donate. Make your property animal friendly or help animal causes. I have, let's see, this is here. Okay, here we go. So sadly, according to the World Wildlife Fund's latest Living Planet report from 2019, the number of wild mammals, birds, reptiles, amphibians, and fish has dropped by 60% since 1970, mostly due to habitat loss from human encroachment or through climate change that makes existing habitats uninhabitable. The idea that we are apart from animals and the ecosystem is one of the reasons why this disconnection is so profound. We have no greater rights than any other animal to be here, and we can work with rather than against the animals. Isn't that true? There's space for all of us. There's space for all of us. Okay, animals. So I am going to use the Fountain Tarot to do the tarot reading, and this will be for the month of September, and that would be for Virgo Sun, Virgo Moon, or you might be a Virgo rising, and this may be your reading. It may resonate with you, it may not. You can always come back to it later if you want. At the end of the month, say, hey, that didn't happen at all, or oh yeah, that must have been my reading. Some Virgo out there with some sort of Virgo placement, this reading is for you. So hopefully it finds you. All right. It's really muggy here today. It's been very moist, which is nice because it's been very dry. But it's been just hot and moist and muggy, and not really. The rain didn't give us any relief from the heat, really, or from the humidity. What are you gonna do? All right, we start with the Four of Swords. The Four of Swords. This is a card of rest. Okay, it's a card of rest, repose. It's a card of taking care of yourself, giving yourself the rest that you need, which for a Virgo is kind of an unusual situation. Virgos tend to not always be aware that they need to rest. So something has brought you to the place. Hopefully it was a choice and not a necessity for you to just sit back and relax and think about your life and calm your mind. Let's see what's crossing that. The Empress, we have the Empress here. This is creativity. You have a lot of creative ideas. You have a lot of like irons in the fire, things that you want to get done. But it's important that you see this period of time of rest of your mind as not punishment that keeps you away from your creative pursuits, but a sort of a place where those creative things can be born, right? Can be sort of like when they put the eggs, the baby chick eggs in the incubator and they keep it at a certain temperature so that they grow and that they develop and they're born. So that kind of energy, incubation of ideas. We have the Knight of Wands at the root of this. There's a wanderlust here. You have a little bit of a wanderlust, and because you sort of have to stay still, I think there's a push-pull here to this wanderlust. Maybe you want to know when are things going to start moving again. Maybe you're tired of being in that Four of Swords position. When are things going to start? When can I get back on the road? That's the question. In the past, we have the 10 of Cups. So there was some sort of peak experience that you experienced, emotional experience. Is that what you need rest from? Well, things in the past were pretty good. 10 of Cups is always a nice card. In the sky, we have the 7 of Swords. Okay, so the 7 of Swords is an ability to figure out who's lying and who's telling the truth, who's stealing and who's not. This card, my teacher would say, something stinks in Denmark. You're figuring out what stinks. So there's information available, but there's also people out there who don't have the best of intentions. Just something you need to be aware of. Let's see what's your immediate future. We get the 9 of Pentacles here. So this is a lovely card for Pisces. First of all, it is a Pisces card. But it's about sort of being in your own little world, the world that you've created, safe and sound. You are sort of looking out from over the garden gate here, or the garden labyrinth in this case, to see what's outside of your environs. So there's still a curiosity, but there's this sense of stability that you have, and that will continue through the month. So that's a really nice card to get for the month. How it's seen from the outside, we have the 5 of Cups. People see you as mourning over losses. I'm not necessarily sure that's what you're doing, but I think that's what people are seeing. They're like, are you okay? Are you okay? Because maybe you're so active of a person, now you're taking this time and they just figure that it's something bad. But I really just think it's time that you need and the rest that you need. so you know what the next step is going to be. Your domestic situation, something was illuminated in your domestic situation. This is can be a card of renewal. It can also be a card of moving in a completely opposite direction. But that's a nice card to have in your domestic situation. So far, your cards have been pretty nice, except the stuff in the sky is a little bit daunting, but we'll see. Hopes and fears. We have the Lover's card. We always hope for and fear that, don't we? That commitment, that opening yourself up to somebody else. It's never an easy thing to do. You think about it. Right now, it looks like you're alone, but it's on your mind. Outcome, we have the Five of Coins. This is this can be bankruptcy, but it can be spiritual bankruptcy. This person is so caught up in the everyday sort of survival um, that they're not looking to the spiritual source for um, for um, for support, for support. What may seem as a loss is really simply change so that you can move in a new direction. Let's see if we can pick a major arcana. We have the Five of Wands, the King of Cups, nothing so far, and the Eight of Cups, moving away from something. Let's see what's underneath it all. Oh, okay, the Devil, Six of Swords, and the Ten of Wands. So what's underneath it all is that you have been in the clutches, perhaps, of the devil, a feeling of and the devil is not always a sense that it's not always evil, but it can be that you're chained to something, a belief that you had, or a point of view, or a way of thinking. Life is drudgery. I'm always going to be the person who has to do the cleanup here. You know, those kind of things that you can find yourself saying to yourself. But then we have you moving away to calmer waters, and we have the Ten of Wands, which is about carrying too much, taking on too much responsibility. In some cases, allowing your beliefs to burden you. I believe this, so I must do this, and I must do that, and I must do this, as opposed to just saying, do I really need to do all of that? Do I really believe that? Right? So there's a calming, so this month for you is an opportunity for you to sort of reevaluate your values, figure out what's truly important, calm your mind, allow your creative imagination to take flight. There's space for that. There's space for that. You have worked hard enough to give yourself the space that you need to figure out what it is really that's important to you. And once you decide that, then you really, in a way, that's when you really shine, because that's when you apply yourself. And whenever a Virgo applies themselves, there's always a little bit of genius associated with it. Um, so be your badass genius. But before you can do that, you have to figure out what's worth keeping and what's worth letting go of. So that's what it says. You can't move forward until you've made the decision. What is it that is important to you? What is no longer important to you, and a willingness to let those things go. All right, well, have yourself a wonderful month. That's an interesting reading. Little work there, but you know, you're a Virgo, you like work mostly. Have yourself a wonderful month. Like and subscribe, and I will see you again next month for your Tarot Scope for the sign of Virgo, Virgo Moon, Virgo Sun, Virgo Rising, for the month of October. But until then, namaste, everyone. Namaste.